Okay, let's continue looking at Solview Soldraw, the assignment with the machine block. So I'm going to do a share screen. Go to AutoCAD. And in previous tutorials, we did the section and the right side view. So now we're going to do the top view. So double click to open that viewport. Type UCS 3 to make sure that you're on the right origin X and Y. We're in top, we're in X-ray. Let's change that to 2D wireframe. And let's knock out the dimensions that we are familiar with. So make sure that you're in the right dimension layer. Right now I'm on right side because that's where we were in the last time. If I start drawing, the dimensions won't show up because it's frozen in this current viewport. So go to top dim, zoom in, go to annotate, dimension, make sure that it's the custom dimension and text style. And I'm going to go from that corner to that corner. I'm going to pull it out and do continue to the next corner and next corner. Hit escape. I'm going to do another dimension from the top to the quadrant. Come up. Can do another dimension here. Pull that down. Now this one's sticking in the middle, so you can either push it in to the middle here or push it out to that side. Let's add these other dimensions using continue. So I'm going to dimension to there, dimension to there, and dimension to there. Pretty straightforward. There's also a 4-inch dimension. So let's knock that one out. It's going to go from here to here, just like that. Now notice that it's drawing on the center line. So that's actually a mistake. So let's grab all these dimensions, go to properties, down at the bottom, not quick properties, just properties, and change this back to by layer. Okay. Pretty straightforward. Let's do save. Close out the properties. Okay, let's do some center marks. One there, one there. Let's do a center line. Zoom in between this one and this one. Remember, with the center line, you have to drag it out to make the tails a little longer. And if it doesn't look right, then you click on it, right click, and you do a property override. So I'm going to go with center 2, and I'm going to change this to 0.25. That's what we used the last time. It looks like that. That's actually a little too small, so I'm going to click on it, right click again, go back to properties, see what 0.5 gives us. Okay, it gives us a nice break in the middle. So let's override this, make sure this is by layer. Okay, it's all pretty simple so far. Stuff that you've done. Now, notice that there are 2 dimensions here, 2.625, that violate the rule of how many decimal places. This is a unique situation because we need more precision for these 2 holes. Excuse me. Do not use the property override. Instead, what you're going to do is you're going to use the dimension that you've been using, and you're going to create a new one. I'm going to call it Scott 3 Des Places. Click on continue. Change your precision on your primary units tab from 2 decimal places to 3. Set current, that'll lock that in. Do a dimension from here to here. I'm going to drag this in. And then I'm going to do another one. Snap those together. Drag that in, like so. Now let's look at this diameter dimension. Again, this is a diameter dimension, not a multi-liter. So I'm going to go with diameter. I'm going to pick the circle. I'm going to drag it down. Don't cross at this intersection because it gets really congested. Cross somewhere. In fact, I'm going to change where I'm drawing. I'm going to do it at the top, right here. And remember to add this text, just double click on the dimension itself. Go to the end of the dimension, make sure your cap lock is on, say drill, comma, 2 places, comma, 2.25 deep. It looks like it's not going to fit, but when you click outside, it does. Okay. Now let's do this next dimension, which is this radius 5.25. Now this gets a little confusing, so I'm going to walk through it. Let's change this to radius. Click that curve, bring it out here, and you get this wonky looking view with this thing here. You're going to do a property override. Right click, properties, and scroll down and you'll see extension line is turned on. Let me drag this over a bit so you can see it. Here's the extension line. If I turn this extension line off, then the arrow goes all the way through. Let's also add a center mark. Let's see, mark, line, none. None of those are working, okay. So let's add a center mark. Now this center mark is going to overlap because that's what center marks do. They're supposed to overlap. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to drag the arrow back, turn off snaps so you can. Actually, no, there's an easier way to do this. Click on the center grip and scale it 0.875. Come on, should have worked. Oh, I know, right. You have to explode it first. Okay, now it's individual pieces. So we're going to pick this piece. I'm going to pick this piece, the center mark, and this piece. Use boundary windows so you don't accidentally grab anything underneath and that piece. Scale it from the center, 0.875. So now it pulls it in a little bit. We don't need this tail, so we just delete that. Zoom out a little bit, save as we go. Now the last bit is the section cut, this AA section cut. Now, if you create a new layer for that section cut line, it's going to show up in all 4 views, so don't. Instead, what you're going to do is you're going to stay on the top dim layer. You're going to do a property override. So let's zoom in a little bit. I'm just going to draw a line straight across, all the way, come up a little bit. Oops, see it snaps, so I'm going to undo. I'm going to go to there, hit enter. I'm going to grab that, I'm going to mirror it. Go there. Let's zoom in, stretch this a little bit. Control, click, no, shift click to let go of that dimension. Pull this out a little bit. You can turn this into a polyline by polyline edit, join, I'm sorry, yes, join, tail, line, pan over, line, enter. Get rid of properties, that's in the middle. In fact, we need properties again, so you click on this line, right click, properties, and change your line type. Except none of the line types show up here. So how do you get a line type? You go to your layers, layer properties, click on any of these line types. That brings up your line type box. Click load, pan down to Phantom 2, click OK. You don't have to select it, just click OK. What that does is it loads Phantom 2 into the list of line types that you can use. So now if I go to properties and go to line type, there it is. I get Phantom 2. Now the last piece is arrowheads. Now you could draw arrowheads using a polyline. There are different ways to do it, but it's a pain. You've already got arrowheads right here. So I'm going to copy this dimension from here, turn ortho off to about there. Grab that dimension, explode it. I'm going to erase. I'm going to grab everything, but then I'm going to use Shift to unselect that arrowhead. I'm going to grab the arrowhead and I'm going to scale it up 1.5. So it's a little bit bigger. I'm going to move, whoops. I'm going to move it to there. I'm going to mirror it from there. Now ortho is off, so I need to turn ortho back on. Boom, like that. I can do a polyline edit and join that together, but I don't really need to. Let's do a save. Zoom out. Go back to paper space. Let's delete this. Okay, so now let's turn off that viewport layer. Let's see what we have. Okay, that's the drawing right there. Now, the dimensions look kind of small, so there's a couple things you can do. You can make the dimensions bigger using fit. You can use a smaller drawing sheet and bring your title blocks closer together. One of the things you want to do is in this isometric view, you want to turn off the hidden layer so it looks like a 3D solid model. Double click out of there, save your work, turn it in. That's all there is to it. I know I went through that pretty fast, but you can play this over and over again as many times as you need. And feel free to email me if you have any questions and we can Zoom